In October 2010, the Jewish community learned that a group of individuals were gathering signatures on a petition to place on the ballot in San Francisco a measure that would criminalize and ban circumcision.
I'm the proponent for the San Francisco initiative that will restrict circumcisions on male minors under 18. Women are protected, as we know, on a federal level from forced genital mutilation, and men are no less deserving of that protection. The question of shouldn't people be allowed to make a choice, a decision on whether circumcision is performed is the heart of our argument and our initiative.
In May 2011, enough signatures had been gathered, and this measure had qualified for the November 2011 ballot.
People have practiced circumcision for thousands of years as a way to connect to a commanding voice and presence of God, as a way to remind themselves that their own bodies are sacred vehicles, as a way of marking literally in indelible ways into their flesh that they are part of a community that has gone on for thousands of years and will go on for thousands more.
This measure would legislate out one of the most fundamental pieces of our faith tradition, and it would make it punishable by up to a year in jail and a penalty of up to $1,000 to perform a circumcision on a male minor in this city. I can't think of another issue that has united the Jewish and Muslim communities and other communities that wouldn't ordinarily find themselves sitting around the same coalition table.
Among the members of Abraham's household, when he is commanded to circumcise himself and the members of his household, is his son Ishmael, right? The father of Islam. And so there is a history every bit as rich for Muslims of the ritual significance of circumcision as a connection to God and to their people's story as there is for Jews.
I think it's important for us to protect a parent's right to decide whether or not to have their son circumcised because parents will decide to do it or not to do it based on a number of factors. One certainly important one for us is the religious tradition. Parents will also decide to do it for medical reasons, and there are a number of health benefits and medical benefits that start from infancy and extend a lifetime.
The Brit Milah, the circumcision ceremony, is not only about surgery. It's actually an opportunity for the father to verbally and publicly, and over a cup of blessing, in Hebrew, a kos shel bracha, proclaim that his son is welcomed into this covenant. And that's why the name is given at the circumcision ceremony. Because, of course, that's how people are going to call you your whole life. And in many ways, what we're doing is paralleling in the body what we're paralleling in public.
We have on our Facebook page a list of rabbis throughout the United States who are delighted to perform the Brit Shalom ceremony, which is the welcoming ceremony for the newborn child, allowing respect for the religion, the culture, and the guest of honor. It's the ceremony without any cutting.
That there will be some parents of boys who want a new kind of ritual, I get. But to suddenly litigate and suddenly legislate away other people's rights seems to me to do to others exactly what the proponents of this initiative are upset about having been done to them. That strikes me as misguided at best and dangerous at worst.
It was deeply alarming to learn that the proponents of this measure also wrote an anti-Semitic comic book called Foreskin Man. This comic book portrays this monster moral character as a bloodthirsty, evil, depraved Jew who wants nothing more than to circumcise babies.
They're reminiscent very strongly of some of the Nazi propaganda from the 1930s.
The second Foreskin Man comic focused on ritual circumcision, ritual religious circumcision. Certainly every Jewish person who's depicted in the comic is depicted as a normal, loving, caring human being, that they are. The only person that is vilified is the person that is doing the cutting. This was never even part of the conversation for our San Francisco initiative until it was brought in by our opponents.
I think a lot of this is not about hating Jews. I think it is about hostility to religion. Otherwise, you would see making initiatives about all kinds of elective surgeries. No one is suggesting that repair of, hip dysplasia that has no significant medical fact, but it can change the gait of the child, make them look funny, or pinning back the ears so they don't look like Dumbo when they grow up. No one wants to make that illegal, but they want circumcision illegal. That is about hostility to religion.
We talked about having a religious exemption. We didn't do it for two reasons. First, anybody can claim a religious exemption. All someone has to do is say, this is part of my religion, whether it's Muslim, Jewish, Coptic Christian, or a personal spiritual or religious belief. More importantly, children of religiously or culturally affiliated people deserve the same equal protection as every other member of society, and indeed not to include protection for them would be discriminatory.
The reason this initiative is so troubling isn't because it will affect potentially Jews or Muslims. It's much bigger than that. It's that the track record of using laws, whether in the name of religion or no religion, to coerce people's conscience is always destructive and often deadly. That's the cycle we have to break. Not the cycle of circumcision good or circumcision bad, but the cycle of coercion, which would dictate to others what to do with their very bodies, with their very children, and with their very souls.